Okay, so let me share my screen. All right, so I wanted us to look at the data first. We started the consortium social media, I want to say in August. And so initially, we were just kind of feeling it out to figure out what the flow was and what they wanted. And I think in October we got a little bit more guidance in what they also, wanted to see on their page, which is when we started getting into the historical calendar and sharing significant things that happen in history as far as um, civil rights, Black America, and Alabama. So then we got focused on that. And then, of course, we were getting a lot of content from staff members. Before I go into the analytics, the two main staff members that were providing us content, and let me stop sharing for a second. The two main staff members that were providing us content are no longer with the company. So we're not going to be, we may not be seeing as many local articles and stories like we were getting before. Um, there's a regional coordinator assigned to each of the main three cities. And you guys know what the main three cities are: Montgomery, Birmingham, and Selma. So there's a regional coordinator for each area. And they're responsible for pretty much keeping their head to the ground and what's going on, finding out events, situations, keeping up relationship with the site representatives, and whatever other things that they do. And so that's how we were being informed about local events, and again, about local articles and content and things like that. So we have not been getting very much of that. And one of the staff members retired at the end of the year. The other one, he quit. And so his last day was January 28th. So what we have been doing is really pulling from what has happened in history to get content. And I'm just sharing that so you guys are aware of where it comes from. And I'll show you, there's links on the historical calendar spreadsheet that I go in and look at. And I want you all to be aware of where it is in case that ever needs to be handed off to someone. I don't want to be doing it always. I would like, for someone else to do that. I want to give everybody as much opportunity as possible. And the more I'm kind of able to ease out of that, the better for the company overall, so we can move forward and get more projects added on. I will share with you guys that this particular project has been very frustrating, because as hard as we work, the client is not fully satisfied, and it's out of our control because we're working with what we've been given. Their podcast launched very last minute. We were not prepared for that launch, but I want to tell you guys, I personally think you all did a phenomenal job. Those of you that were available on Friday, I think it was the 26th, whatever role you played in that, if you responded and said you couldn't, I appreciated you responding. So at least I knew you guys saw the message when we needed help adding the snippets of the audio to social media, when we needed help uploading the video to YouTube. I mean, everybody played a significant part. And even for those who just were on the back end of my frustrations of it all. So I appreciate all the help that you guys did. Going forward, their podcast won't be as chaotic. Some of it they'll be pulling from interviews that have already been recorded. So it will be kind of like how we do the virtual service, where we just have the video, we find some good points, and we share it that way. So anyway, I want to thank you guys. I think you guys are doing a great job. I, happily take the hit on whatever our client did express his disappointment in how the podcast went, which, if he was disappointed, I was disappointed. Okay, fine. And to be honest, I am in a place right now where I'm feeling indifferent, and I will eventually get myself out of that, but it's a slow go. It's been a week since I talked to him. A week was today, Wednesday. Tomorrow will make a week since that conversation. But I know how hard we worked. I know how late we were up, scrambling, doing our best. And it's just an interesting personality that we're dealing with. A lot of it is about what will people think. All these people are waiting, and it's, not ready until late, all this stuff. And we all know this is not our first social media project. We all know there are not people sitting around waiting for something to come out when they don't know when it's coming. They don't know what time it's coming. They have no idea. So anyway, I want to share that with you guys, because that's swimming in my head. And before the call, I'm like, I want to share the analytics with you because I'm excited in the direction it's moving. But at the same time, I mean, this client is just, they're not the worst that I've experienced, but it's just like, nah. So at the same time, I want us to use this project as a case study to see how we can take accounts that were lying dormant and brought them back to life. We are bringing this account back to life because we're getting a little bit of material, but we're kind of making the best out of the little bit that we're getting. So this is our case study on what we can do. Your account is lying dormant and how we can bring it back to life. So let's look at the numbers. Hey, Cheryl, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
When I looked up, it was 5 after. I'm like, oops.
The time goes by fast.
Yes.
Okay. Cheryl does these lovely charts for us so that we can report what things look like. This eventually does go to the client. They have a weekly staff meeting, and some meetings there's enough time to present the data. Others there's not, but this is what we're starting to use in 2024. The other charts that we were using were really nice as well. But I think the simpler we can make it for them, the better. Also, just seeing the up and down diagrams, the bar charts is also will make it easier for them to understand as well. So this is going from October to, is this big enough for everyone? Do I need to enlarge it?
No, that's good for me.
That's okay. Good. Okay, good. So as you can see, let's just start in the top left corner for Facebook engagement. You can see where it was in October and how, it kind of chugged, came on up. November really peaked in December. A lot of things were going on in December. Holidays, significant civil rights events. They had some different things going on, so they were able to provide pictures and different things like that for us. So it was a lot of things going on in December. Then we come down some for January. It doesn't take a nosedive, it just comes down some. In these charts, we do want it to go up and down. Nobody's heart rate is high all the time. We have you exercise and then you cool down. You exercise and then you cool down. So the up and down is good. It's healthy. And I like to stress this with clients as well. Okay. So let's look at the Facebook page visits. You can see the significant jump from October to January. And of course, January is when their podcast launched. So a lot of that is in relation to the podcast. If we go down to the next chart here, the audience growth, this just is a percentage of the growth from one month to the next. So at no point are they flatlining. They're always growing, which is good. The highest at 3% in October. And we're growing a little, each month. And then you can see over on the right side what that looks like in regards to page follows. And so we're going through this. If anybody has any questions, just holler out your question. This is not a formal presentation. We are all in this together. And if there's some terminology you don't understand, then, ask that as well. Okay, so you see our Facebook reach. Again, that peak in December got us at the highest percentage of our reach there at 387%. And then it came down some in January, but at no point are we ever going all the way down to 0%, which is great. And then you can see the page likes. Now, I always like to look at, for our benefit, just to see where page likes are in relation to follows. And at one point, there was a difference between the page likes and the page follows. And it looks like that is consistent and is the same in regards to the follows and the page likes. All right. This is always, yes.
The benchmark, what does that mean?
So the benchmark is like the average percent that people look for in regards to reach, for example, on Facebook. So the average is 6%. The average for audience growth rate is 0.6%. The average is 5%. So we just put that in just so we can see where's the benchmark in regards to averages and where are we.
Okay.
And the benchmarks.
Sorry, I was just going to say that I think that it's important for them to see that when they're thinking about whether or not there's movement in their social media, they should see that you're already well above kind of what the norm is for this particular platform. So, they're in a good place, even though they're feeling like maybe it's moving slowly. You're doing great.
Right, exactly.
And that brings me to a quick question as well.
Yeah.
When we took over their social media, was there any data to show where they were? Just for comparison's sakes, like you were here and this is where you are now, just so they see the difference.
Yes, we have that. We have that information. Yeah, they've been given that information as well. This is really the last quarter and the first month on this chart. But yeah, they've been given data from July, what it looked like, and then what it looks like now.
Oh, good.
Yeah. In fact, at one point they were getting stats every 2 weeks. Most people don't look at the data every 2 weeks. It's usually every 30 days, but they were wanting to see it every 2 weeks. So they were they were overdosing in analytics.
It's kind of like when you're on a diet and you weigh every day.
Yes, it's
that
exactly.
much.
I love that analogy, Cheryl. I love that analogy. Exactly. Give it time. So this is always fun, and seeing what the top 10 posts were on Facebook and when we posted it. So this is for the month of January, what the top 10 posts were in January. And you guys may remember what the different events were. And all of these are, let's see, we have, this was actually an article. This was a local event with them. I want to say this is one of their consortium conversation. It was pictures from the consortium conversation, if I'm not mistaken. And then this was a job post. One of the pastors at one of the sites was being I don't want to say inducted or inaugurated. I forget which is the right word. But anyway, they got a new pastor. And so that was it might be induction. And then the next one was one of the sites and what they're doing for the month of January through May, if my memory is serving me correctly. And then you can see what those numbers look like in regards to reach and impressions, which is all really good. Let's go to the next group of 5. It's interesting to see that one of the virtual church services is in the top 10. No, I'm wrong. This is not a virtual church service. These are pictures from this particular bishop visiting one of the sites, which was a church. That's what it is. All right. Anybody have any questions? If you see something like this, this post is no text, that is from a repost. And this repost was, let me see, I wrote it down. The quilters, it was like a quilters of bees bin. It was an article that was posted by This Is Alabama, and we reshared it. So that's what, when you see there's no post, that means it was reposted. All right. We're going to move on to Instagram. Oh, you'll see the same setup: engagement, reach, growth, page visits, follows. It's all the same. As you can see, Instagram was one of the platforms that was growing slower than Facebook. And then once we start sharing about the podcast, that helped significantly take it up some, because now we have what I like to call for them original content. This is really the biggest missing piece to their social media strategy is original content. And I have talked to them about providing original content for us, but we can only put down the water. We can't make them drink it. So again, we work with what we've been given. Ashioma, those videos that you're working on, the bomb in Gilead, there's a bomb in Gilead, those interviews.
Yes, ma'am.
We are putting those on hold. We got, we started out our part, but I, initially thought it'd be a great idea for us to start sharing those with Black History Month. I asked the public history director if we could start sharing those, and she said they can't be shared until they have been digitally archived, and that won't be, they won't be ready until mid-April. Okay.
Those are so good. So good.
So this is when, we have to be like, okay, this is not my social media. This is their social media. So yeah. So we'll revisit it. But I appreciate your work on that and getting the hashtags and the summaries together. I'll keep you posted, but that's what's going on with that while you have not seen them on the document for what we're going to be sharing.
Mm-hmm.
I was really glad when Dom brought it to my attention that the Instagram follows had crossed 1,000. And we're actually the plan is to post a little celebration post when we get to 1,020 in the event any of those are bots or whatever, and they drop off. That way we're still at 1,000 when we celebrate. So, so that is, it's good to see that, because for the longest time, you can see where Instagram was. October, 979. It went up by 3 in December, back down in, November, back down to 979 in December. And now we're going up in January. And all the people that the page visits. When I'm sharing this data, I stress to them what page visits mean. Like, it means they have to click on your profile to actually go to the page and see the rest of your posts, which is a big deal for someone to be scrolling and decide they want to see what else do you have.
Hey, Tiffany,
Yes.
did you ever get to explain to them about the shoot, what were we talking about? The like on Twitter and Instagram, when you actually click on the post, the reach instead of the likes. Did that ever come up recently yet?
No, because I have not been able to present our data in about a month.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would you message me what you told me so I can have it in my brain as well?
Yes, I'll do that. I'll
Thank
send
you.
you this Slack.
Thank you. Yeah, they talk so long in the staff meeting. By the time they're like, so admin, do you have any updates? I mean, the poor people have been in the meeting for 90 minutes. They don't want to hear all this. So I'll be like, is there enough time to go over the analytics? And I'm like, oh, well, we'll go over it the next time. Fine with me. We're always ready. That's the main thing. Okay. Let's look at the top 10. And post likes. So this is just the total likes on the post. All righty, let's go to top 10 in Instagram. So what has been working? Let's see. This was the promo for the podcast, and it got the highest reach of anything that we have seen. I'm not sure if that's because it was Cornell West, because it was, one of their own videos. It was introducing the podcast. They shared it more. It could be, a number of things. But it, got the number one. The second one was advertising Dwight Cameron's film coming up. And Dwight Cameron is one of the board members for the consortium. So it's a big deal about it as a film, but also a big deal because he's one of the board members. And then this particular article was so funny. We got this article about Brucey in an email, and I wasn't even sure if it was for us to post on social media, but I was like, we're posting it because I asked them, let us know if anybody gets recognized or anything like that. And so it ended up being one of the top 10 posts. So I'm glad we did that. This was another video for the podcast, about the podcast coming up. And then the next one was job posting. Let's see. Our articles are doing really well. It looks like all of these, except for this one, all the other ones are articles, which is really good because it's so funny. I dreamed that the consortium got an award for their social media, for their journalistic approach to social media. And I had to text myself that that's what I dreamed. And it was, I don't know, probably because of all this stuff on my brain in regards to them and their social media and the podcast and all this stuff. But anyway, I really like how the articles look when we see it in the feed and we see the picture and the caption is very clear and all that good stuff. And because it being in the top 10, it shows that people are really responding to those when they post them. This one right here was an RFP, which is request for proposal for different sites to apply for a grant. That's what that third announcement there is. All righty, let's keep going. Let's talk about YouTube. Look at this, y'all. We know this is definitely the podcast taking off. Unfortunately, our client kind of is discrediting the data because of the podcast as like, oh, yeah, that's a anomaly because of the podcast. But it's still a big deal, and it still counts towards numbers, and it means that once you start, you got to keep going. People want to see what else do you have. So you can see the click-through rate there. I like the fact that January was the month the podcast went live, and it's still right in line with October. And October may have been the month where we posted more videos to YouTube and directed people to YouTube. I can't remember, but that's probably what happened while we have that. And when we aren't posting the videos, we aren't pointing anybody to their YouTube channel, people aren't just going just out of curiosity. Subscribers has gone up, which is really good. And look at the impressions. Shanika, does the impressions apply to YouTube as well?
I'm not sure with YouTube.
Okay.
I'll look at it and see if that's the same thing.
Okay. Because I was thinking for YouTube, it's when it comes up like either as a suggested video on the side. That's what I was thinking it may be for YouTube. All right, let's keep going. Total views and total time watched. So that's really good. People stuck around, watched the whole podcast. Multiple people did. And then a lot of people came and watched. So that is really good. All right, let's look at the top 10. We know obviously that the podcast was going to be number 1. Look at that. 302 unique viewers in comparison to the other numbers. So I don't know. They may be not realizing you're onto something with the podcast. If it's good, if you got a good guess, people are interested. Oh, let me also add, the client says that a lot of this has to do with the fact that he sent out emails to 800 people. So that he individually emailed 800 people.
And I'm still like in my head calculating how that even happened. It's like, how do you do 800 people? What? How did that?
Okay,
Okay.
we'll just give him the credits.
Hey,
Right.
you got it. Okay. We're on the imaginary Ferris wheel again. Okay. No problem. We did nothing. And all of these other videos are part of the Voices of Alabama videos, which is good. Those videos have been there for a while, and it's good that people are, while they're at, on the YouTube page, they're checking out some of these other videos. And I would imagine that once somebody watches one, they'll go to the next one because they're really short and see what's on the other videos. Let's see, executive director preaching at 2 different churches. And then the last one is another Voices of Alabama video. All right, let's look at X and see how this looks. We don't get top 10 posts for X just because of how their analytics is. So right now, the followers is kind of stagnant. That's fine. We do, engagement is up, which is good. And then, still getting likes. So Twitter is an interesting thing because I know at one point it was more like sending out quick text messages and being, back and forth or, stuff like that. And what we're posting is a little different concept on Twitter than that. So, all right, let's look at LinkedIn. And we can see our follower growth here was at 20.6%, which is the highest. It's down to 8.3%, but not 0, which is still good. Again, up and down is the expectation. We have increased followers on LinkedIn, which is great to see. Total, and then we got our new followers. So that's what everything looks like from October up to now. Does anyone have any questions before I stop sharing and we move on?
Has he, probably not, mentioned anything about threads?
No, I hope he doesn't. No, he's mentioned TikTok, y'all. He told me, I'm surprised that y'all haven't suggested TikTok to us.
Is it for real? Oh my goodness.
Unfortunately. He is.
So I'm just like, I have not seen all the videos that I see on TikTok. Someone's talking, and if they have an article up, they're pointing to it's a green screen. They're pointing to the article. They're talking about the article itself. So I can't even get them to give us just original content from the office, much less a YouTube. We're not going to post articles on YouTube.
Or TikTok, no.
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm saying YouTube, but I mean TikTok. We're not going to post articles on TikTok. And again, this is how we have to pull back and be like, you know what? It's not mine. This is, but I need to see an example of just an article on TikTok.
Unless
The captions aren't even hyperlinked unless it's a hashtag. It's just not how it works.
Not how any of this works.
It's not how any of this works. And yes, there are videos with voiceovers, but again, it's somebody's voice and they're talking about something. And what I think the consortium should be doing on social media is a whole different thing than what they're doing. I have talked to them about, seeing the consortium as a person that has a view.
right.
But right now, which maybe, I'm going to go with, we have, our approach is more journalistic, which is fine because there's no flow. There's no, Flow is with Progressive. Jake is with State Farm. There's no person to be the face. And what's the other on? Who is Mayhem? Mayhem is that State Farm?
Allstate.
Allstate.
Yeah.
They had the guy from Waiting to Exhale. I don't know what his character's name was in this Allstate in the state was Allstate commercials.
With the deep voice.
But now they have the opposite, the Mayhem instead, But everyone, if you have a face, then that makes it easy to communicate. So, that's where we are. I am working hard to get you the post earlier than we have been. It felt so good to have that to you on Tuesday early. And part of that is because I don't know if you noticed, we got a little formula for Black History Month where I think we've already posted all the inventors, so I gotta find another group of notable Alabamians to spotlight for Black history. And then I don't know why their Instagram account does not show polls as an option in the caption. And I checked all my Instagram, the old ones do, the new ones do. It's just weird. I'm not sure why theirs doesn't show the captions. But Dom, the way we're gonna do the polls is kind of give people a chance to comment before we tell them the answer. So like we had 2 comments on the one from Monday. Monday
Yes.
was the one about how long was the Montgomery bus boycott. So we got 2 comments. We can, what do you guys think a good time frame is if we have people that respond to let them know what the answer is?
I think
So
we
what we
should
did
give-
with those 2, I think Dom has already let them know that that was the right answer.
I think we should give enough time is giving them Lord, I can't talk. I think giving them the time between when we post another one
Okay.
is a good.
Okay, then that works perfect. Because the first one, I don't think we got anybody to comment on the first one. Is that right, Dom?
I didn't see answers, just two comments for the one from Monday.
Okay, so yeah, so nobody commented on the Friday one. So that works perfect because today is Wednesday, so we commented on that one. And then the answer for today's question is Lincoln University. So on Friday, and I say give the answer when we have comments. If nobody comments, I don't see giving the answer. What y'all think?
Yeah, that makes sense for me.
Okay. Because someone may come along a few months from now and randomly comment on them. And then that would be a good time to let them know.
Now I have a question. Is there a place where all the answers are? Like, I feel bad that I don't know the answers to these, but just in case months later, right, or weeks later, someone comes back, I can just reference it.
Yeah, I'll put the answers in. I'll create a document that has the answers.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see for trivia. And Shanika, if you will look at the stories and see if we got any responses. I mean, where people tap for their answer.
I can check that.
And this is an experiment. We're trying to see, and if Ashioma, if you can see on Facebook stories, are we doing? No, we're just doing a regular poll on Facebook.
We're also doing story.
Okay, check Facebook's, and then Shanika, you check Instagrams, and then Dom is keeping up with the comments. Because also what I want to see is this something that people would participate with? With the trivia. Because really, and this is something that was brought up in their staff meeting, I mean, for them, Black history is every day. It's not just February. So, I like trivia questions. We can turn anything into a trivia question. So it's, if people respond, it's, good to see, okay, would this eventually get traction once people, got used to seeing it? Even if we just did it in stories, because stories lets them just tap without commenting. And then we can always, grab a screenshot of the poll and come back and post another story with the answer. Any thoughts on that?
I actually think that's a good idea. It would force people to look back at the page, I think, if they missed it.
Yeah. So for Black history, we'll keep, doing it with the trivia cards as the post. So then, it's easy to spot. And then we'll go from there based on the response that we get. We'll continue to do it how we're doing it because we have it in stories. It's also on the post. We know that people are following along on Instagram that aren't really Instagrammers, meaning they don't really understand highlights, may not understand stories. So we'll, continue to do both and capture our data on that. What else was I saying? Does anyone have any suggestions as far as how we are communicating information with the team, how you guys are receiving the post, how we're posting what we post? Is the flow of that working? Don't everybody speak at once.
Yes, it works pretty good for me.
Okay.
I can tell you one area I think I run into problems with the resharing, and I
Yes.
try to space it out. So when I reshare to profile, I think because there's a gap between, so I work Mondays and Wednesdays. By the time I come in and say, let's say a Wednesday, there's a lot of content to reshare on that profile. And I don't want to share all of it. Like, so I find myself like picking and choosing what is reshared on profile, just so within an hour's time, I'm not like bombarding people with everything that was shared all the way from Monday. Does that make sense? So I
Gotcha.
think that's,
Okay,
yeah.
so step us through. So it's Wednesday and you're resharing what we posted on Monday.
I reshare was reposted on Wednesday, and then also Tuesday because I didn't work on Tuesday.
Okay.
And then anything else that I missed on maybe Monday, like in the evening part.
Gotcha. So you're on Wednesday. So like today, you're
Mhm.
reposting Monday and Wednesday content. Is that what you're saying?
So I've started, because I've been trying to strategize. So I've started focusing on Wednesday, but there's so much content that still has not been shared on the profile from the previous day. So I wanted to talk through a strategy for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand. Okay, so if we do 4 posts on Monday and 4 posts on Wednesday, when you come let's go back. Monday evening, when you reshare, are you reshare the 4 posts?
I reshare. So no. So I'll reshare. I try to do like beginning of the hour. I'll do one and I'll do another, just because I just didn't know if it would be bombarding folks with all of the 4 plus whatever I
Gotcha.
missed
In the hour.
in the hour. Yeah, because I'm just doing the 1 hour.
Got you.
So that's the trouble.
I got you.
Sorry, my brain is kind
There
of.
is, if anybody knows of some software that lets us schedule to a profile, that would help. Most of them schedule to a page. If you know of one that lets you schedule to Facebook, this is specifically for a Facebook personal profile. Because what they want to do is have the profile be the same as the page. And somewhat the same. It won't have everything, but somewhat the same.
I can look and see if I can think of anything.
Yeah, because that would help. Because yeah, it is a lot in an hour. And you pretty much are looking at maybe 3 posts in an hour. Like you say, the beginning of the hour, the middle of the hour, the end of the hour. And really, how many? 15? Actually, 4, you could do 4 every 15 minutes.
Okay, I can try that.
But see if anybody finds a software that will let us schedule to a personal profile, not the things that schedule and they just remind you to post, but it actually does it. And it's like cheap. And are you resharing on Friday as well?
I reshare to profile every day. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, whenever I do
Okay,
the
perfect.
engagement. Mhm.
Okay, perfect. Okay. I just didn't hear Friday. Okay,
Oh,
perfect.
sorry. And I was just giving sorry, an example. Sorry.
Okay.
I just put a link in the in the chat that goes to a YouTube video, and I have no idea if this is legitimate or not. But it popped up when I just kind of did a quick Google search. And this
Oh, nice.
gentleman says how to schedule posts on a Facebook personal profile. And I just kind of looked at the comments that seemed to be
People saying that it worked.
So yeah, anyway, maybe that's something to look at to see if there's a quick.
Okay. Dom, take a look at that. And they have got 7. Well, I know last I saw they might have more friends. We might have more friends than that, but 7 friends at one point. I don't know what it looks like now. Thank you, Cheryl.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Okay. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have. I wanted to make sure I share the numbers so you guys can see that. As you guys can see, I changed our meetings so that we can touch base more frequently. For the social media team, I found that we were having more things to talk about than the group as a whole, and thought it'd be more beneficial if we just make sure we get the social media meeting set where we're meeting, and then the team. So what will happen on, am I in February? Wednesday, on the 21st, I want you guys to stay back after the regular team. We'll just touch base. There may not be anything. If there's nothing, then I'll let you guys know, everything's good. See if you have any questions, and then we'll hop off. But just put in your calendar the 1st and 3rd, which is the same schedule we've always had. It's just that the focus on the 1st will be all social media, and then the 3rd Wednesday, you'll just stay after our team meeting. And then we'll go from there. If anyone is interested, let me show y'all this. If anyone is interested in taking a stab at the pulling and going through the history post, I'll still review the social media engagement ones. But if anyone is interested in looking at the history calendar, and I'm going to show you where it is. So everybody should have access to this folder. To this spreadsheet. So you see it's broken out by the month. Their staff provided us with a historical calendar. And so I just transferred that information into a spreadsheet because I like spreadsheets, and it's easier to, find our tabs. So this is where some of the information came from. Some of it is information that I found along the way in looking for what's happening this day in history stuff. So at the end of this spreadsheet is resources. And this is where I go through these links to see what happened when. So for example, this is the EJI site. They have a lot of good stuff. A lot of things that we get come from this site. So it's already broken up by the calendar. And what I look for is Alabama. So we're not sharing everybody's stuff. We're looking for Alabama things because they are the Alabama African American civil rights. So that's what I look at for that. And depending on how I'm feeling, what day it is, I may look at the whole week of history, or I may just look at a couple of days, but I'm scrolling through to see what Alabama thing happened. So for example, this is on for February 14th. So then I'll look at it to see, is this something that happened to Black people? Because something I clicked on, it was about the prisons and when they started privatizing prisons. But once I started reading it, the prisoners was white because the Black people were slaves. So they already had them. So that wasn't a good article for us to share. It didn't fit. Okay, so this actually looks like it's a good one. It's got to get it is something that happened in Alabama to Black people. And then I just do a quick glance at it to see what it is. We have for our little blurb, I use this site called Writer Buddy. And I'm signed up for the free version. Those who have been working with me for a while, we try out the free version to see if we really need the paid version. So it's a sentence writer. And instead of copying, verbatim, sometimes we do and put it in quotes. But instead of doing that, I may grab the first paragraph because we need a summary, and all websites don't give a good summary of the article. And just pop it over in here. And just do one outcome. If you do too many outcomes, it's 2,000 words for the month on the freebie. So if you do too many outcomes, that subtracts from your words. Because we just need it to so that we're not plagiarizing the article. And I just wanted to do a quick, just generate a sentence for us from here. It'll rewrite it for us. I copy it and paste it over on the doc. I do read it. I might take some stuff out if it doesn't make sense, and go from there.
Hey, Tiffany.
Yes.
Are you sharing your screen, or I don't know?
Yes, this is my screen.
What are you saying? Ashioma.
I'm not saying what you're sharing.
You see Writer Buddy? You see Sentence Rewriter?
No.
What you see?
I'm just seeing you.
Swipe. Oh. Are you on your iPad?
No.
You on your computer?
Yeah.
Huh.
In the picture where Tiffany is, Ashioma,
mm-hmm.
the box in the top right corner, click that. In the box where my picture or Tiffany's picture is, because we're talking. In the top right corner, it's like a swap shared screen with video.
Oh, okay.
Did it work?
Is it the top right corner?
Yeah, of like the picture. Who do you see? Whose face do you see now? Do you see my logo because I'm talking?
Yes.
Okay, right there in that box.
Okay.
In the box where my logo is, the
Mhm.
top, what is this? That's the right? Yeah, the top right corner. It's like a little box. It says swap shared screen with video if you hover over it.
Interesting. I
Hold on, I'm gonna send you.
I didn't see it.
Okay. You gonna send her a screenshot?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Switch. Let's see.
So,
All right. I can see it now.
okay, perfect. So since I've already got that article, I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of what we have here. So each day has a folder. And I do check the 14th is a Wednesday, so that works perfect. And I'm just going to copy make a copy of this. And then move this copy to the 14th. Sometimes the document is already there. If Ashioma sees the folder, gets in the file first, she'll rename everything and create the folder and all that good stuff. But since we have found a good event in history, I want to go ahead and we can just go ahead and put it in there. And we'll just take all this off. And then go back to our link. The history post is not something that I want you guys to spend a whole lot of time on. Because it's a quick, either there is something there or there's not. And then since we're doing our trivia, okay, so yeah, either is something there or it's not. So that's that. And let's go back here. So I look at all of them. Some of the websites, it's easier to find things than others. And some of the websites, I keep it on the list, but I get frustrated with it because it's like, oh, this is not a good one. So like this one might not be a good one. Yeah, this is more like a blog post. So that one, they may come up with something, but just do a quick look. Do they have something? Do they not? And move on to the next. What are we? February. So you just go to February. We shared about, what's her name? That's on a different one. So today we've already shared about Carter G. Woodson that, the first day of Black History Week, it was called Black History Week when it first started back in 1926. But let's say we didn't share that, then this will be a historical event we can grab. Now, you guys know we can't just say this is not interesting enough for social media. There needs to be a picture or video or something else besides the words. So in this example, I would grab Carter G. Woodson, do a quick Google, and see if I can find a good article on him. So, I'm going to go to a website. It's got a good picture. So this is sharing about his life. If I want to specifically focus in on Black History Week, then maybe I'm going to put in Black History Week. My computer just died, y'all. Hold on, let me grab my let me go grab my cord. I'll be right back. So that's just something to think about if anybody is interested in looking at that. Once we have done a complete year, then we'll have all the historical events, and it'll just be a matter of seeing if there's a latest article. Like January 30th, when I realized late that was the date that Coretta Scott King passed away. So an example like that would be, okay, did anybody write a recent article about that now that we know? So I'm trying to think, waiting on my computer to wake up. So anyway, I go through that and I go through all those links on that spreadsheet just to see. If there is no historical event, then there's just no historical event. We haven't had a day where we didn't have anything to post. We've had at least one thing to post, but we've never had a no post day. Because we can always find something. And especially this month. This month will probably be the easiest posting month. And then next month is Women's History Month. So we'll be sharing a lot of women in Alabama. So you will be doing those, those posts.
Quick question, Tiffany.
Yes.
So the history post that we do, is it provided by the consortium, or we just have to go dig it out? Like
what I just showed you.
Mm-hmm.
So what they provided was a historical calendar. And it was just a Word document. The dates were not in order. It was just all over the place. So I just went through the events and plugged in, because I'm like, we need tabs. I need tabs, January, February, March. So it's easy to click on. So we started out like that. And then there was the day when they said, I can't remember who it was, somebody's house got bombed. And I'm like, who is he and why is this important? If I'm sharing historical things, like, I'm going to share it as if I'm talking to people who don't know. None of us live in Alabama, so we're the perfect audience for we don't know. So they want historical events, but we gotta find the details of the historical event. So if they, but that in that one particular person, whoever it was, I couldn't find anything about it, so we didn't share it. Because if there's no art, if we don't have an article, we don't have a picture, what are we what are we sharing? It's not shareable. It's information, but it's not shareable. Not on social media. Maybe if they had a newsletter and they had, different little things at the bottom, and then you could say, Dr. XYZ's house got blown up on this date or whatever. And then people who are interested could dig further. That works in a newsletter. It does not work on social media. We want to see, which is why the images are important. Just having an image is important. So what they provided, like I said, they provided the fact that we have a historical calendar. They provided the thought of needing a historical calendar and wanting that. That's, you know, that's the extent of it. Of course, I would like for them to give us more. You guys know that. They're really not interested in social media, to be honest. The executive director wants the social media, but the staff is not interested in social media. Where's my meeting? Trying to get back in, y'all. So that makes it difficult for us, because when they do send us content, it's like, okay, people are sitting in pews. That's not interesting.
Did you address the posts that were on Facebook, the kind of random posts that
Thank you, Cheryl.
Before I got on, because that's an example of
no, thank you. So Dom, you had asked a question about let's share my screen. Dom had asked a question because she's going through the comments for engagement stuff. And we get a whole bunch of random comments from Lucata, who is the executive director of the consortium. He's our client. And he's just putting pictures under old posts, random pictures. No caption, no words to help us know anything. So it looks like he's trolling or spamming. So I asked him in the meeting that I had last Thursday, what was the intention behind the comments? And he said, well, if I went to an event, I would just put the picture in the comments. I'm helping with engagement. I'm sharing the pictures with y'all. I said, but it doesn't, I said, it didn't have any words or anything to let us know, you know, what's going on in the picture or anything. Well, if it doesn't have that, then just ask me. I'll let you know who's in the picture.
Even if it's the back of a head. Oh my goodness.
This is not a photo album. It's not a photo album. I just said, okay. So again, I'm not, okay. And I just, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know anymore. We did get a good caption from one of the other staff members, and y'all shared that. It was pictures from the Selma, Birmingham Consortium Conversations event, and she provided the caption with her pictures for us. So we shared that. But yeah, so there's a lack of interest. They want it because they want people to know about them. They want people to donate, but you got to do the work behind it. And from our point of view, it looks really easy to just whip out your camera and take a picture, or whip out your camera and hit record. I mean, they're all, y'all, if we were in the office together, our social media would be so easy. We're walking down the hall, we're getting coffee, We're showing off the office. We're headed into the team meeting. We're going to lunch. So I'm also working on how we can demonstrate what we want clients to give us so we can have, you know, an example. Because our social media is lacking. And I'm double talking, because in the same breath that I say, you know, if we were in an office, it would be so much easier. Yeah, but we can you know, figure it out for us. But it'd be so much easier if we had an office, because then we're not, you know, it's not about, you know, what your background is or whatever, because the office is always clean. My house might not always be clean. The office is always clean. You don't have to worry about, you know, what's in the floor. So having said that, because you guys are the social media team, I will, or a screaming newborn in the background. I will be, we're gonna, Cheryl, Shanika, Ashioma know, at one point we were trying to experiment with TikTok, and we were kind of running out of ideas and what to do. But we're going to use some of the ideas that I gave the consortium. And so if I ask y'all random questions like, what's the last movie you saw? What's the last book you read? That's for our social media. That's for our social media. And we can play with the fact that we are virtual. At one point, our videos were like just hands, not seeing our face, which I still like that concept because of us being virtual assistants. Yes, or dog toweling. Y'all know how the whole theme now is, it's because I'm a such and such, I have this. Because I'm a such and such, it's that. So all those things go with, because I work from home, you're gonna hear the baby crying in the background. Because I work from home, the dogs will be howling. Because I work from home, you might see my cat run across the back of my chair. Because I work from home, you might just see just this corner. That's all. So anyway, so if I ask you guys what seems like a random question, that's what it's for. We're gonna have to be the demonstration. And I'm not forcing anybody to do it. Of course, I always want everybody to participate. Nobody has to participate. But we're gonna have to do that. And at one point, I was hoping that we could utilize faceless videos because they have those out there. But they were so, not all of them, but most of them I could not relate to. They just were not us. There was not enough diversity, first off. And none of us are sipping coffee on a bed with a white comforter. That's just not happening. Who's doing that in real life?
Well, I am sipping coffee. Always.
Not on a white comforter.
Not on my white duvet, though. No.
No. Who is doing that?
Not I. Not I.
Oh, y'all, this is not, no, nobody's doing that. So that idea, when I was like, oh, we don't have to worry about doing, you know, trying to figure out the videos anymore. Yeah, that plan wasn't good. But maybe I can just find stuff where people are pouring coffee and pouring water and random stuff like that. So anyway, but that's where we are. That's what's happening. We're going to keep an eye on how the trivia is going. we'll get ready for Women's History Month. I'm not sure we're going to get a lot of content from them. What they are doing in regards to Black history is they are doing a lot of interviews, and they may be going to events. The interviews are sitting on somebody's drive waiting to go into the digital archive, wherever that is, and we'll see it spring, summer. And I'll say this last thing because it's been over an hour and I don't want to hold you guys too long. When I did bring up the video and how, you can pull out your camera, this, that, they're like, oh, Marcus does it. Marcus is the contracted videographer. There's a big difference between Marcus's professional point of view and our point of view. People respond better to you just being non-professional in regards to how the video looks. It's more engaging when it's not polished. Because when it's too polished, it's not authentic and it looks like it's crafted. Now you're looking more like PBS and CNN and the news, you're looking more like that, which is not relatable if I'm just scrolling on social media for enjoyment. Unless, your club Shay Shay, you could have, be, ultra professional because he's got interesting guests on there. That's different, but we're talking about for their regular social media, what's happening in the office. I asked for a quick video of the, to give us a tour of the office because they moved. Do we have that? No. No. So, but we're going to press on. We are using this as a case study to see how we can revive dormant social media and get it moving. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And again, we can't force the client to give us what we need, but we work with, what we have and go from there. So I appreciate your hard work, all of your efforts, your responsiveness. Everybody's really great in responding. And again, I'll get these posts to you earlier so that if you want to be up late doing it, you can, but you don't have to be waiting on me. I have taken advantage of the fact that Ashioma is 2 hours behind. I'll always be looking at the time. It's 10 o'clock. I'm like, oh, good. It's 8 o'clock for Ashioma. But I don't want to do that because then I'm like kicking myself like, oh, I got to do these social media posts. I don't want to do that. Tuesday was fantastic. It was great to have that already. Mm-hmm. So that's how it's going to be. And we'll go forward from there. So does anybody have any final words? Any final comments, last questions before we get off?
I put another link in the chat.
Okay.
When you were talking about creating social media captions.
Yes.
And I think you were saying that the app that you use has a maximum or that there was a level or something. But anyway, I don't know if you've ever used Chat GPT. But it's free. There's a free level and then there's of course an upgraded level, but you can copy and paste in a blurb and you can just say create social media caption and it'll give you a caption that you can. So test it out.
Awesome.
Just kind of see if that might be an option.
Okay. Because I've used Chat GPT to get ideas and stuff, but I haven't done it to do a post from an article blurb, but I will definitely do that. Because this is not something that I want to think really hard on, nor do I want anyone on the team to think really hard about. Because this is not.
I mean, that's high level content
It's
creation.
not.
If you have to
Yeah.
if you have to summarize an article down to this much, that's a lot of brain power.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, no, I will copy this first paragraph and give me a quick blurb, and we'll move forward. Yes, because we need to say something. So instead of, some of our captions have quotes, because I was just like, look, we just gonna copy what they said. We're just gonna quote what they said.
I'll just let you know, ChatGPT is going to give you a whole lot.
Well, it depends on how you
Depends on the
how
prompt.
you create the question. Because I did a test, and it was like literally one paragraph, and it even had hashtags.
So what do you say? Write paragraph.
Create social
write
media.
social media
Create
caption.
social media caption, and then I just copied in. You just copy in the content, like from the article that you had, and it returned one paragraph, and it had the hashtags as well.
Okay.
So it does depend. It does depend, Ashim, on how you ask it, because it will. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, I can Google and get this. I want a summary.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Dom says tell it word count. So yeah, you have to
Give it all that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that might be a little extra. Write a buddy. I already know. Look, I want a sentence.
I want it. Okay. Okay. Well then, yeah. Then.
But I like that it gives hashtags. We have not taken advantage of hashtags. We're just now using hashtags with the inventors. We haven't been using hashtags. The 3 objectives, I would like to pull some hashtags based on the 3 objectives. Who would like to grab some, put the objectives into ChatGPT and get us some hashtags? You know how on the social media SOP, it's got the 3 objectives for social media. If we could use those, plug those in and get hashtags. Yoli, can you do that for us? Okay, perfect. Thank you. We can do that, and then make sure when we do use the hashtags that they're not attached to anything crazy. So sounds good. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. We will be back, like I said, on the 3rd Wednesday, and of course in Slack. And Yoli, if you will put those hashtags on, let's create a separate document. Just make a doc and just call it hashtags and put that in the folder.
Okay.
Yep. And once you have the list, if you can plug those into Instagram just to see, make sure they're not attached to nothing crazy. There was this really good post. I'm gonna say this last, well, I got 2 things and then I'll let y'all go. Really good post about, there were some twins. There's some twins that went to Tuskegee University that played tennis, and their last name was Pete. And their nickname was, they called them Pete and Repeat. And they went to Tuskegee University, which is in Alabama. I was like, oh, this would be really cool to share. And it would have been a good reshare. But when I looked at the guy who shared it, I'm like, oh, you can't share him. He can't share him. We'll call whoever fit. So for the hashtags, make sure it's not connected to anything crazy. Even if we have to localize it and add Alabama at the end or something like that, we can do that if it's a really good one and we need to modify it. Dom is out next week, Yoli. You'll be filling in for her. Okay, so good. So you guys touch base on where she lands on Friday in regards to reshares and the profile. And then let me know if anyone finds software. No, Dom is going to watch the video about how to schedule to social media, I mean, to the personal profile on Facebook. Let us know what you find out, Dom, in regards to that. And let me know if we need to go. We started out with an hour for engagement just because we didn't know what we didn't know. So let me know if we need to bump that. Just shoot me a message and let me know. That's just what we, yeah, that's just what we started with because it was something new and we didn't know what was needed. YouTube. Okay. Ashioma and Shanika, you guys are good. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Have you guys started the switching?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, because with the new introduction of the polls and trivia,
Oh,
I just want us to have a rhythm going first.
got you. Sorry, I added a curveball in there. I was like, we could do a poll and trivia for Ashima. Okay. All righty, ladies. Thank you guys again. Y'all have a great evening, and I'll get this our replay up. So if anybody wants to watch it and see what they missed, you can watch it. So y'all have a great night, and thank you again for everything that you're doing for Virtual Higher Hand and also our clients as well. More to come.
Have a good night.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Bye, everyone.